Do you guys sell beef?
哦，你们有肉吗？在里面？
No, we don't. We're not a super target.
他们没有，不是 Super Target， 没有东西。
How can we get there?
我们怎么去那里？
Yo, I might need a Drake May. Damn it. A Drake May translator. Cause bro, I mean at this point it's getting way out of control. Anyways, guys, yeah, it's a little late for me right now. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, we have 2 games to predict, and they're pretty important for football. Obviously, I mean, I don't know. I think the Natty was more important than this. Again, college football is so much more important. But yeah, we got some games to predict. Let's get this thing going. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Please like and subscribe. Hope you guys are ready for what should be an insane championship Sunday of football. Again, I don't know when you guys are going to be seeing this, but hopefully probably before these games happen, as, again, here are the preview and predictions for these games. Again, first of which will be the AFC Championship, because, again, the AFC and NFC Championship, same times every year in terms of, again, what time the games are going to be out. But, again, they flip-flop every year. This year, AFC Championship is the early one. But, again, as you guys can see, it's a very unprecedented matchup, maybe not in terms of the history of the league, but in terms of what we actually have going on here. Again, we already know the elephant room. We'll get to that. But, again, both these teams, again, earn top seeds in the AFC. Again, as the Patriots come in as 2 seed, Broncos were the 1 seed. Both these teams haven't played each other in the regular season actually since 2023. That year was in Denver. We'll get a little bit more in the future, but again, you look at these Patriots and Broncos teams, again, a lot of the history goes back to what happened in Peyton versus Brady, again, when he headed over to Denver there. I think, what did they play, 3 or 4 AFC championships against each other? Again, the biggest ones, again, when you look back to 2015, that was a great game. Again, Broncos won that one 2018. Then you go back to the one they played when Payne went all the way. Again, they went to the Super Bowl the first time and got absolutely destroyed by the Seahawks. Who get to in a little bit. But as you guys can see, the matchup, Patriots are the 2 seed. Again, a renaissance for both these teams. As you look at these, again, really what's going on. Obviously, the Patriots have been a little bit more relevant than the Broncos over the past 10 years, but not a ton in the past, again, 5 years, as they have really fell on some hard times. But this year, due to an easy schedule, again, and also 2 very incompetent quarterback play, and their 2 playoff games, they find themselves here in the AFC Championship with the AFC MVP, is what I'll say, as with Drake May. Again, the world's raving about him. You guys saw the, again, hope you guys saw the hype video for this thing. Again, there's a lot going into this for them, but again, you look at the Patriots overall, their defense has played flat out dominant the past 2 weeks, as they've only given up 1 touchdown in those 2 games, and again, they've actually scored defensively the same amount of touchdowns as they've given up. They've gotten a lot of pressure. They've been really freaking good. We'll get to that in a little bit. But on top of that, for the Patriots, again, this is a team that has not lost a road game this year. I'll continue to mention that. Again, when we look at both these teams, they literally haven't lost a road game all year. Again, all 3 of their losses have been at home. They lost in week 1 to the Raiders. Still don't know how that happened. They lost in week 3 to the Steelers, and then they lost in week 15 to the Bills. All those games were at home. Again, they took care of business at home here in the playoffs, and they're going to try to keep that road winning streak alive, which I think is, what is it now? 8 games? 8 straight road game wins they've won. But anyway, on the other side for Denver, again, if you didn't already figure this out, but Bo Nix will not be playing this game. He fractured his ankle in very suspect fashion against the Bills on Saturday. That was one of the better playoff games we've seen in a while, as, again, they took care of the Bills 33-30, walk-off kick in OT, crazy win. But, again, this Broncos team has been the most consistent team in the AFC this year in terms of winning clutch games. They've now won an NFL record 12, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 1-score games this year. Or they're close with the Chiefs last year and the Vikings in 2022. And if you don't remember, those 2 teams, they didn't really do great the next year. But anyway, for Denver here, again, we all know Jarrett Stidham will be starting this game. He was the former Patriots quarterback. He has not taken an NFL snap since Week 18 of 2023. If you didn't know, what is called Bailey Zappi in those Patriots, who were 3-11 at the time, sent Russell Wilson out of Denver for good, as Jarrett Stidham took over for those last 2 games. They lost when they won one. I think both were against the division. It was like 16-9 against the Chargers at home. So I guess, hey, he won his last home playoff game for the home game for the Chargers, for the Broncos, my bad. And then they also beat the Raiders. They lost the Raiders in Week 18, 27-14. Both those effectively meaningless. But for this Broncos team in this game, This is absolutely not meaningless whatsoever. This is a Broncos team that also has not lost. Has only lost one home game this season. That was back in Week 16 to the Jags, 34-20. But other than that, this is a team that has been flat out dominant here. As defensively, they've gotten a ton of playmaking, especially from their secondary. You look at them last week against the Bills. A lot of that was definitely prevalent, as well as their defensive line just completely catching the Bills' offensive line off guard a lot of times. As this is a defense that has really thrived in terms of their sack totals and pressure rates over the past 2 years. But again, this is a team that has gotten their first number 1 seed since 2015, if I'm not mistaken, and they're really trying to get it done. But again, it's going to be very tumultuous for them to actually be able to get over the Patriots here. But other than that, guys, the Patriots and Broncos, I already kind of mentioned that they haven't really played in a while in terms of a big-time game, but this is definitely one to watch. It'll be at 3 o'clock, though, on CBS, NFL Plus, and Paramount Plus are the ways you guys can stream this game. Again, it's probably going to start around 3 because they don't want to delay the later game too much. But again, overall, guys, this is a monster game. A lot of storylines with this as we've kind of gone through here. But in terms of the weather for this game, it's going to be frigid, 17 degrees, 10-mile-per-hour winds, and also partly sunny. So not the end of the world with that. It's going to snow probably towards the end of this game too. It's going to be a hell of a one. That's all I'll say though. I guess we'll just start with the Broncos. Their starting lineup again: Jarrett Stidham starting. Bonus is out for the rest of the postseason, even if they were able to move on to the Super Bowl. R.J. Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin are in the backfield as well. You might even see a little bit of Tyler Beatty, but again, it's really just R.J. Harvey there who has been their stud. Cortland Sutton kind of had an off week last week in their first playoff game, but he will definitely be relied on this one. Troy Franklin's questionable. Pat Bryant, also low Jordan Humphrey, who seems to have a connection with Jarrett Stidham because he did have a 54-yard touchdown versus that Chargers team last time Jarrett Stidham started at home. Also, guys, Jarrett Stidham is the fewest starts for an NFL quarterback coming into a conference championship ever. Just keep that in mind. Would you get a 0? Because again, if he started in the playoffs, that would have been a little bit bizarre. Troy Franklin's question was definitely an issue. Again, Marvin Mims had a big time game. He had the game-tying touchdown or go-ahead touchdown last week before again the Bills even things up. Evan Ingram's at tight end. He hasn't really done a lot recently. Adam Prentice is their fullback. For this offensive line, Alex Forsyth is questionable. He's definitely some guy to watch. Luke Wartenberg's usually the starter, but he hasn't played in a while now. The rest of this offensive line has been very, very good. For this defense, this D-line is going to obviously get a lot of pressure. Zach Allen's one of the better, or more efficient and more versatile defensive tackles in football. T.J. Jones has been awesome at nose tackle. John Franklin Myers has had his best year since 2021. This entire their edge rusher group is obviously gross. They have 5 guys that can get pressure. Even Q Robinson, who doesn't even get that many snaps, still has like a 20+% pressure rate. Linebackers, Dre Greenlaw's really done a lot for them. He is their dude. He's one of the more talented players on the defensive side of the ball in the entire NFL. And then Alex Singleton obviously is their rock there. The secondary, a lot of these guys make plays. Riley Moss has taken a huge step this year. Jaquan Milken has gone back to his 2023 ways in terms of his playmaking. Patrick Chance, the best cornerback in football. And then both these safeties have really come along. Obviously, Talanoa Funga has dealt with injuries again after last year. So it's good to see him back there. He's obviously had a good year. Will Lutz, Jeremy Crawshaw, our kicker and punter. Moving over to the Patriots and seeing what's going on with them. Offensively, a lot of the, again, big things are with this running game because we are, again, Drake May is going to do his thing, we know that, but it's if a guy like Ramondre Stevenson can put up consistent output, or if that isn't the case, Travion Henderson can break a long run, because when this offense is really bending and at its peak, it's when Travion Henderson pops a long run. He's had like 4 or 5 of them this year. That hasn't really been the case. Again, when he doesn't break big runs, he's somewhat decent, but he's definitely not a guy that you look at as an effective player overall. So again, it is critical for him to break those big runs. Stephon Diggs, obviously the number 1 receiver. In a lot of ways, he's played like a number 1 this year. He hasn't exactly put up the craziest production, but he has been Drake May's number 1 guy. Kayshon Boutte is probably the most explosive receiver. He had a fantastic touchdown last week. Kyle Williams is a ticking time bomb, but he hasn't really gone off recently. And then you also have, it's pretty good. Demario Douglas is also there. I don't know. He had a touchdown last week too. Hunter Henry's they're probably the most reliable receiver overall. Again, at tight end. And Austin Hooper will be huge for their blocking scheme. Jack Westover is at fullback. The offensive line is again definitely other issues last week. Guy like Will Campbell got absolutely boat raced by Will Anderson, who completely tossed him around. Morgan Moses also had his issues with Daniel Hunter, but overall they held up enough to where again a guy like Drake May didn't make too many issues. And the interior of the offensive line also is challenged, but they do a decent job. I will say this week it'll be a handful for them for sure. Again, I expect a guy like Jerry Wilson to get a lot of exploitation on him, and I would not be surprised if he gives up a couple of free rushes to Drake May, which is even more important that Josh McDaniels schemes these guys open, and especially out of the backfield in terms of hot routes for Drake May there. Defensively, Aaron Landers out. That's huge. They need him to play. He is their best pass rusher overall. He hasn't really been all that consistent this year is probably the best way to put it in terms of, again, he's got a lot of volume, but the pressure rate doesn't really reflect it as much, but he is their best passer. And Fernie Jenkins, who is more of a versatile sort of run defender, will be in the start for sure. Kayvon Chason has been their most productive pass rusher this year and probably the most athletic guy. He's been really good, obviously. I think he ended the year with 7.5 sacks. And then at linebacker, Robert's playing. Christian Ellis will definitely bring in something. Jelani Tavai will definitely get out there a lot in their D-line. Expect a lot of good things from them, too. And the secondary is really coming along. Carlton Davis has been a huge man press for them. Christian Gonzalez, if it's not Patrick Tan, it is him as the best cornerback in football. Marcus Jones is very versatile as well, and obviously Craig Woodson, Jalen Hawkins are huge at safety. Andy Borregos is their kicker. Bryce Behringer is their punter. This game for me, again, as we go into how I see it in terms of, again, how good a conference championship game it is, it's only so bad it can get. I'm going to put this one in decent, though. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't see this game being that competitive. Just because of the circumstances that go along with it. It kind of sucks, to be honest with you guys, but I don't want to lie to y'all and act like this is going to be some crazy great game. And even if it is super competitive, it's not going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to be honest. It's just not going to happen. This Patriots defense, this is the worst quarterback they have played so far, and the fact they haven't really been playing in very eventful games the past couple weeks in terms of quality football. Again, obviously last week a lot of stuff happened against the Texans, but that kind of just tells me what it's going to be like. Unless Jarrett Stidham just lights up the Patriots defense. I mean, that can happen too, and Drake May goes off. That would be awesome, but that's probably not going to happen. In terms of who I actually see going on to the Super Bowl 50-60, I'm going to say the Patriots are going to get done. I don't think that's really, again, definitely a boring pick for a lot of people. I will say the way I think it's going to happen is definitely a little bit more ambiguous than, again, the consensus would be, just because of the fact that Drake May's definitely not going to be going off on all cylinders in this game. If he tries to, he will get absolutely wrecked in this game. Josh McDaniels knows that. I definitely expect the limitations on the offense overall, but obviously the receivers will still make their plays, and I do expect this run game to break one or two in this one. But at the end of the day, I'm going to see the Patriots win this one 17-9. I see the Broncos at least being able to move the ball somewhat, but I don't see Jarrett Stidham going this entire game with going clean. I expect this to be a little bit more of a low-scoring game. I hope it's awesome, guys, but I see the Patriots, again, represent the AFC in Super Bowl 60, again, getting their first AFC championship since they won Super Bowl 53. Dang it. Now let's get to the NFC game. And in the NFC Championship, we have a rematch, one that took me 5.5 hours to get through the edits of. Yeah, it took me a minute to get through that. But as you guys could see, we have an absolutely monstrous NFC Championship this year. I mean, again, these are the two best teams in the NFL. I've been saying that ever since they matched up back in Week 11, or honestly Week 10. That's really when you guys first saw that. But it's part 3. First one went to the Rams. Second one went to the Seattle in insane circumstances. I will say the Rams kind of got lucky in Week 11, though. But it's Game 3. Again, if we talk about a wild card series in terms of baseball, again, Game 3 is what decides it, unless you win the first two. But that's not the case here. It's Game 3 here, guys. It's, again, win or go home. It's, you want to be in the Super Bowl? Are you the best team in the league, sort of thing? That's what you're kind of asking here. Rams, they've had a hell of the last 2 weeks in terms of their finishes, as they again barely escaped Carolina with a 34-31 win. Their defense closed that game out behind Stafford just walking down the Panthers in that one. Again, their defense definitely was a little bit questionable in that one, but they were not questionable for most of that game against the Bears outside of that one, again, historic throw that Mikael Williams, one that we will be talking about for years to come, and kind of the what ifs that and the ramifications that came with that. But their defense was what ended up being the saving grace in there, as their offense only was able to muster up 17 points during regulation, which is a big issue if we think about this game. But overall, this is a Rams offense that has been the best in football. This is arguably the best offense they've ever had under Sean McVay. Statistically, I know 2018 was better, but Stafford's better than Goff. So I'm going to say 30.5 points per game does get it done there. But again, Devontae Adams hasn't really been looking awesome the past couple of weeks again in his return. And defensively, it's again their X factor. If they play really well, it's going to be hard for Seattle to be able to win this game, especially with the turnover issues that haven't been, again, the biggest issues of their past 3 games, but have definitely shown up against this Rams team in the past. With that said, obviously an NFC West rivalry. These teams have played a crap ton. But for Seattle, that has not always gone in their favor up until really that Thursday nighter, which has really transformed this team in their season, as they were going into, 8 minutes ago before that the Rams punted the ball inside their own 20, where Rashid Shaheed transformed that game. They were down 30-14 and looking to be heading on the road for the postseason. But what ended up happening was, again, insane 2-point conversion, again, coupled with that touchdown by AJ Barner, right? And obviously, Rashid Shaheed's touchdown really got that thing going. Again, all those plays, again, accumulated to, again, one of the crazier games and finishes we've ever seen. Again, they went for 2 to, again, really, again, in a lot of ways secure that 1 seed, and they got it. Sent the Rams on the road for the past 2 games. They've really gotten worn down for sure. Seattle, they didn't have a game last week, basically a bye week against the Niners, as the Niners didn't really show up. Again, the opening touchdown by Rashid Shaheed ended that one. big X factor to watch in this game. But again, a lot of the issues with the Seahawks team are on the defense. I'm joking. Their defense statistically has been the best in the league this season. I don't really agree with that notion. The Rams put up 581 yards against them in that Week 16 game. Is that realistic to happen again? Absolutely not. I mean, if you put up 581 yards in any game, that's insane. So the fact that they get against Seattle is even more crazy. But for the Seahawks team, they definitely have some injuries to look out for. Again, it's Zach Charbonnet being the biggest one because he's their stabulator in terms of that running game. But yeah. Again, a lot of people aren't talking about this, but Sam Darnold, what is he, had 6 turnovers against the Rams in the past 2 games against them. Again, the infamous 4-pick game that, again, led to their demise back in Week 11. But, again, the Week 16 game kind of threw him out of that one. Again, if the Rams actually were able to do something on offense and that draft after, again, they got the ball back up 30-14, this could definitely be a different story. But still, Seattle, Sam Darnold turnovers in big games, still a big question mark. Obviously, the past 2 games they played against the Niners, he hasn't really had to do a lot as their defense has given a combined 9 points, none of those for touchdowns. Just with all that in context, you guys can see how crucial this game is. It is again, it is win or go home. It's best of 1. It is the huge game here. But with that said, Rams and Seahawks haven't played in the playoffs since 2020. That year there weren't fans, but the Rams knocked them off 30-20. I think I'm not mistaken, right? Was that the final score? Rams, Seahawks, 2021. That was horrible spelling. Yeah, 30-20. In that game, Darius Williams, who was still a member of the Rams, had a pick 6, really set the tone early there. DK Metcalf, I think, had a long touchdown that one too. But again, the Rams were able to run the ball with Cam Akers. Again, crazy. Again, that was the time there. That's how they won that game, though. This one, though, again, for the NFC Championship, will be at 6:30 on Fox. Fox 1, NFL Plus, the ways you guys can stream this one. Fox Deportes as well. Again, it is basically, again, if you guys should be able to watch this game. In terms of the Rams and their NFC championships, they've won under Sean McVay. They've won their past 2. The Super Bowl was another story, but again, they've only been to 2. This is only the 3rd under McVay. The last 2 they went to the Super Bowl through. Again, you look at the Stanford, again, Nolan No-Call back in 2018, and then obviously the Niners back in 21 when they won the Super Bowl. Seattle has not been to the NFC Championship, if I'm not mistaken, since 2015. That year, they obviously had the onside kick miracle. No. Yeah, they did. And that got them to the you should have ran it play. But other than that, for Seattle here, they're, again, in uncharted territory with Sam Darnold got his first career playoff win last week. And then you also had Mike McDonald get his first career playoff win as a head coach. So good for them in that part of this as well. But again, you look at Sam Darnold. He just played the Rams last year in the playoffs with the Vikings. He got embarrassed. They lost 27-9. He had a bad fumble that led to a scoop and score. It was just overall a disastrous game for a Vikings team that ended up winning 14 games this year, similar to, again, this team. So we'll see what happens. Maybe, they get it done. With that said, though, weather for this game is pretty generous. 44 degrees, not really much wind, partly sunny. Honestly, guys, I mean, there's really no reason that this game can't have some points be put up. For the Rams starting lineup, though, Stafford's getting at quarterback. He definitely has not looked awesome in this playoff so far. But again, he's on. Again, has a chance to go for 50 total touchdowns this season, which would be insane. Kyron, Blake Corum in the backfield. Blake Corum kind of didn't really play a lot last week, kind of bizarre. Kyron Williams was definitely the best player in this offense, though. Puka Nacua made his big catches when it counted, but watch for him to, again, light up Seattle like he did, again, in his happy merchant Jewish arc back in Week 16. Devontae Adams, though, I mean, yeah, he didn't play, so I can't really talk about much. But he had a touchdown back in Week 11. In a game, Stafford only threw for 130 yards, which is by far his season low. Konate Munfield hasn't really gotten used a lot. Jordan Whittington was huge in that first drive. I expect him to use a little bit. I haven't seen Xavier Smith out there in a couple of weeks, and obviously Tutu Atwell. We'll see if he even touches the field. Colby Parkinson, Tyler Higbee, Terrence Ferguson, Davis Allen. Davis Allen's definitely used a lot less recently, but again, obviously Terrence Ferguson's the X factor there. Tyler Higbee made a big catch, and Colby Parkinson's getting a majority of the big time snaps because he has been the most reliable blocker so far this season at tight end, especially after coming on after Week 1. The offensive line, interesting group for sure. Kevin Dotson's the, again, huge dude here, though, because, again, if he's out there blocking, I expect this running game to be good. I would say Will McClendon definitely took a little bit of a step back last week. Alec Jackson still played well. Steve Avila, Coleman Schoen have been fantastic pass protectors this year. Defensively, Byron Young's questionable off the edge. He's obviously had a breakout season. Josiah Stewart would start if he can't go the rookie. But realistically, for this defense, guys, Poona Ford's going to need to step up to stop the run, obviously. Braden Fisk, interesting season from him. Definitely not the same production that we saw as a rookie, but he definitely turned it on the past couple weeks. Expect to see some more things there. Desmond Johnson might get out there in the rotation. Kobe Turner's probably been their best overall defender this entire year. Again, the numbers might not support that, but on tape, he's looked awesome. Linebackers, Omar Spates, Nate Landman have been massive for this defense. Jared Verse, probably the best player on this defense by a decent margin. For the secondary, Kobe Durant has had 2 picks last week. He has been absolutely fantastic in the postseason so far. Again, other than the freaking, the Caleb throw there. Emmanuel Forbes got benched last week. He hurt his shoulder, I guess. He's the Rams' best corner, though, so we'll see what happens with that. Darius Williams, don't blame you for starting him in this game. He's got the experience. Roger McCurry will probably get out there a little bit, and then Quentin Lake has eased his way back again through the postseason there. Cam Kitchens, again, if you don't remember last year, the 26-20 not walk-up, but in that 26-20 OT win against the Seahawks last year in Week 9, he had the 103-yard pick six. Cam Curl, you can't really say anything bad about him considering what he just did last week. Harrison Mevis, Ethan Evans are at kicker and punter. Other things are going on as well for the Seahawks, though. And what they have going on, again, George Halani will be getting some carries as the running back. Probably not a lot. Kenneth Walker expect a lot, as he did break, again, a big touchdown against the Rams back in Week 16. Start him down at quarterback. Turnovers. Can he get it done in the big moment? We'll have to see on that. JSN had a touchdown last week. He is, again, the NFL's leading receiver. Cooper Kupp, he's going to definitely show up against his former team. He had a fantastic catch, again, that helped the Seahawks win that game back in Week 16. Rashid Shaheed, again, he might make some plays as a receiver, but we know why he's on this team. AJ Barner, Elijah Royal, who just activated is there as well. Eric Saubert, again, knocked off the Rams back in Week 16 as well with that two-pointer. Offensive line, Gray Zabel is absolutely fantastic. The rest of the group has their issues, but obviously Charles Cross is a franchise player. For this defense, DeMarcus Lawrence has really come along this year. Again, in terms of, off of his years with Dallas. Leonard Williams has had the best year of his career. Byron Murphy's taking a step. The edges are definitely a little bit inconsistent. Boyle Moffitt has not been the same player he's been in the past, but Ernest Jones has been probably the best linebacker in football this year, and then Drake Thomas has been a good supplement to him as well. Secondary, Devon Witherspoon's probably the overall the most dynamic cornerback in football. Kobe Bryant, Julian Lover, very good at safety. Josh Jobe, definitely a questionable guy there. Reek Williams kind of gotten moved out because he's susceptible to giving up some big plays. And then Nick Amon-Wari has had a great rookie year as well. Jason Myers, Michael Dixon, who's probably the best punter in football, is there as well. And obviously, you got to watch out for Rashid Shaheed as a returner in the 9 game. Chris Stahl, long snapper as well. For this game, guys, it's got to go, and this could be something. I mean, you guys saw the last two matchups, insane finishes. Again, probably the best game we'll see in a while back in Week 16 in terms of how that ended. So, I mean, I got to put this here. This game is just, it's too good. For who actually wins it, though, who do I see going to Super Bowl 60? I mean, guys, again, you would be just straight up stupid to think that I'm not picking the Rams to go to the Super Bowl 60 this year. It's going to be a close game. I would love the Rams put up 580 yards, but I think it's going to be somewhat of a combination of last week's game plan and them actually running the ball on a consistent basis. Because, yes, last week Kyron still got 21 carries, but definitely wasn't the same measure that I really would have liked. But at the same time, again, beggars can't be cheaters. So, Rams, I'm going to say they win this game 23-20. I don't think it's going to be a game-winning field goal. I really hope it doesn't come down to that like last week, but who really knows? All I know is the Rams will be, being representing the NFC in Super Bowl 60. That is all I have for you guys here, though. And yeah, here's some Devontae and Jarrett Stidham connection here, and I'll see y'all for the recap and see who's in the Super Bowl on Monday.
You don't want to get caught. Just a four-man rush. Stidham steps away from Bosa. Looking, buying time, throws it late. He's got Adams open. Devontae Adams chugging into the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, watch Devontae Adams. He runs his initial route. He breaks in, breaks out. Then he just hits the scramble rules button, throws up his hand. You see him throw up his hand right there, Kev? That's like the old Randy Moss rule, and it's fitting because it's in the same...